Hello and welcome everyone to Empowered Filipino. Magandang umaga to all of our viewers who have joined us on our Facebook page as well as on Kumu. My name is Yona Lucica Signo and I am the founder of Empowered Virtual Services Philippines. Empowered Filipino was created so we can share the different learnings and experiences of inspirational and distinguished personalities so that more people can learn, become inspired and be empowered. The different sets of skills, knowledge, and wisdom that we have come from our years of experience or education in our specific field of expertise. And having that passion and fire to share our knowledge is that power that can drive and make this world a better place. So that's why here in Empowered Filipino Show, we want to be a platform where people can take away new learnings and use them in their personal and professional lives. To start off, our episode today, allow me to introduce our guest for this segment. Our guest for today is a deep conversation coach, certified sacred space holder, rapid transformational therapy practitioner, and a hypnotherapist. She helps people to feel enough and to have clarity, coherence, perspective, and safe space. She even has her own podcast, Me, Myself, and I, promoting meditation, mindfulness, and meaningful conversations. Now, to know more about this amazingly talented and beautiful, deep conversational coach and fellow certified sacred space holder, let us welcome Paulie Durig. Hi, Paulie.
I'm clapping for myself. Thank you, Yona. I'm cheering. Cheering myself on for making it today.
Yes. Oh my God. So thank you, Paulie. I must make a comment about that. So everybody, so Paulie is actually based in Switzerland and she's just come from France, literally has just driven from France to Switzerland. And it is 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning there?
It's now 6 in the morning. But
okay, 6 o'clock in the morning.
We arrived around 3 in the morning. So just like 1 hour nap and then here for you and here for everyone.
Thank you.
With my coffee.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we appreciate you so much for joining us. And, you know, I just love how passionate you are. And really, like when I spoke to you about what EVS stood for and what we're hoping to achieve, you were always 100% there. And clearly, like I was even giving you options to say, Paulie, it's okay. We can postpone if you need to. And you're like, nope. We're gonna make this drive now. And then all I need is a nap. And I'm like, gosh, this woman, she's a power lady, and she's just so inspiring. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Yona, for having me.
Of course. So you know, it wouldn't be EVS if it wasn't that we're going to play a game. So we're going to play a game. Surprise. And today is Guess This Filipino Food. So so here we go. It might be a while, but like we'll see what happens, okay? So the instructions are, I will read the description about this Filipino food, then you'll have to guess the food we're talking about. Are you game?
Go ahead. Let's sana dinuguan kasi I miss dinuguan. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, well, you can't pick the food. All right, okay. So the description is, it is a sweet and creamy. Oh, this is so, you're gonna get this straight away. Rice pudding in the Philippines, a very popular breakfast item which originated from Mexico. It was initially enjoyed as a drink, but later on, Filipinos found a way of adding rice to it, making it a full breakfast meal. It's perfect for rainy days because of its hot, creamy, and chocolatey flavor. Can you guess what food we are referring to, Paulie?
Is it puto secuate?
Oh, nope. I don't even know what that is. Oh my God.
Puto secuate, right? So you have the rice. It's not. You have the rice and the chocolate.
Yeah, so this is together. It's a chocolatey rice.
I'm not sure if we have the same name in the Visayan region. But is it like this? Is it like elongated and you have rice in it?
It's actually in a bowl.
Oh my gosh.
You eat it with a food. So I'm guessing
What's the
you would have
color?
it's brown. And then you can put milk with it, or you can put, I don't know, some people.
Champurrado?
Yes, that's the one. Yay,
I'm so
champorado.
lousy. No, because I'll explain this because
All
it's
right, go
funny
ahead.
because we eat champurrado in Dumaguete, in my region, at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. It's good for
Oh,
snacks.
okay,
It's
there you
good for
go.
snacks. So for breakfast, we always have like puto secuate. That's how we call it. So
Oh,
yeah,
I don't
but it's
even
same
know
color
that.
brown.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So isn't that interesting? So that's actually really, really interesting to note that even in the country of the Philippines, there are many names for, I mean, there's many foods in the different
Hmm.
regions. So really, even though we're all Filipino, we could be referring to different things. So it just goes to show how detailed we must be so that we're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
All right, so for anybody who doesn't know champorado, and just in case, I wanted to share a fun fact or a quick history of it. So as time progressed, champorado further developed. Initially, tableas, a solid chocolate block, were used, but with the introduction of cocoa powder by the Americans, modern version uses this instead. So most Filipinos even started to pair champorado with fried, dried, salted fish called tuyo, which basically augments each other's flavor. Now they're ready to cook packs available at supermarkets, and I know even for me, just growing up, this was one of the dishes that I enjoyed, particularly with dried fish. So there you go. But yeah, that's some fun facts about champorado. Now I really miss it because it's really cold here in Australia, and that would just be a beautiful dish to have right now.
Right.
But thank you,
Champurrado.
Paulie. Champorado, right? All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. I wanted to ask you firstly, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your advocacy and your career?
I love
Mm.
that. Now it made me really think what really is my advocacy because I'm not really sure, now what my advocacy is.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing's for sure, I just want to offer my space to people who needs it.
Yep.
So they might come with a specific issue or specific concern, or they're in the transformational phase of their life, like they want to change work, they want to totally change the trajectory of their career, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
they want to get married, but they're not sure if this is the right guy to marry. Pretty much very, very varied.
Yeah.
But one thing remained certain, it's really me offering the space for someone and
Mm-hmm.
just be and allow them to discuss about themselves without being judged. So I think
Uh,
that's what I'm passionate about. Now, this is like a very heavy question. This is really a very heavy answer for a very light question, but
yeah, no. Well, that's a thing, and I think this is actually a good opening segue to
mm,
perhaps sharing with everybody what does it mean about a safe space or a sacred space? Because everybody, as I mentioned, both Paulie and I are both certified sacred space holders. So perhaps, Paulie,
mm-mm.
if you could just share with our viewers, what is sacred space?
Sacred space to me, or I'll start with a safe space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like because some people would run away from the word sacred for some reason. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what I was even asked by one friend before, like, you're doing sacred spaces. Does it sound like it sounds like religion to me? It
Yeah.
sounds like juju to me because it is juju, right? So I said, well, it only sounds sacred because we'll be doing a lot of things that are targeting the mindfulness of a person, allowing the person to discover the spirituality in them. But technically, the process is the same, whether sacred space or safe space. It's really just allowing someone to rumble with their own reality, rumble with their
Mm-hmm.
own story, rumble with their own truth without judging them. So if you think of a container, you are the container and you have the person inside trying to discover himself or the situation that he or she is in. So that's really how I just look at it. So it's, people might say it's like coaching, but
Mm-hmm.
coaching is different because coaching is a dialogue between two persons.
Yep.
The client really, how do we say this? The client really guiding the conversation through with a coach
Mm-hmm.
beside. But
Yep.
sacred space does not have a form. It's just technically a container, and the
Yeah.
client just technically discover things within that container.
Yes. And it's also important to note that it's generally what the client, may bring up.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, the client generally who would request for a particular form. So, if, for
Mm,
example, with either one of us, they may say, the journey that I'd like to have with you is to discuss the transition in work or,
mm,
relationships. And so that's decided beforehand and agreed upon and beforehand. And it's our duty as a sacred space holder that during that time, that is the focus, that we don't
yeah.
deviate with other things. There may be some topics that we discuss along the way, but it's generally
Mm,
because it relates to whatever the
mm,
initial topic is at hand, right?
mm,
Awesome,
mm,
because I think, like what you said, and I always love it when you say it because you always say juju, and it's true because I know, we come from a culture where perhaps these are the things that we actually don't talk about.
mm,
And that's just fact. Like that's just something that, sometimes we shy away from it or it's taboo in terms of speaking about our feelings, speaking how we really feel, because, we don't want to offend the other person or we don't want to
mm,
say the wrong thing. And so it's important for all of us to know that you are able to have that sacred space out there. And it's just about finding that right person who can hold that sacred space for you. So I love it. I love it. And that's just the first question, right?
So
um,
intense now, just for the
yeah,
first
I know.
question.
Oh my God. Do we need to play another game or something? All right. Well, so you have been a deep conversational coach. So I suppose what is that, and what was your motivation to pursue this particular coaching?
That's a, sometimes, Yona, like, I think we discussed this before, and I think I was asked several times, what is deep conversation really? For people who needed it, it resonated with them, what deep
Mm-hmm.
conversation is, because sometimes we just need someone to confide our truth. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we just need someone to witness what's happening in our lives without necessarily telling us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of the coaching, though, people will be able to find their answers, or people will be able to find what to do next. But that's not really the goal of deep conversation coaching. Deep conversation coaching is like telling you're confident about what's going on with your life,
Yeah.
telling your best friend what you want to tell your best friend, telling your
Mm-hmm.
enemy what you want to tell your enemy, but you can't tell your enemy,
Mm-hmm.
telling your mom a story that you want to tell your mom because it holds so much significance with your truth, but you can't say it anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
deep conversation is all about just really telling your story to me,
Mm-hmm.
and me being your witness without necessarily telling you what to do next. So
Mm-hmm.
for some, they might be able, a lot of people found their answers in the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps another perspective, another angle of viewing the story from the conversation that we have, but it doesn't really have a specific form compared to, say, life coaching or business coaching that at like after a month you will get this result.
Oh,
But deep
okay.
conversation just allows a person to just unravel what they've been holding in.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
this sounds very dramatic, but but Yona, if I will connect it with one word, it's all about emotion processing, really.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah.
me sharing it with you after conversations with a lot of clients, because I'm not really sure what I'll get out of the sessions, but one thing's for sure, they'll be able to discuss their emotions.
Yeah.
And the process of discussing that emotion allows them to free up some space here and really breathe after. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important, especially um, in the time that we are living now. People are feeling isolated. You know,
Mhm.
they feel alone, and sometimes they do feel that they're not able to really speak their truth. And so
Mhm.
having a space where you can have those deep conversations to speak your truth, I really I can see why it would create space within themselves, because of that. You know, they say it's about that weight that gets put onto your shoulders. I think
Mhm.
that is, you know, whilst people may say that as a metaphorical thing, I actually think that that does happen. When we have our stresses and we have those things that we, you know, think about constantly, it does become a weight that we carry
Mhm.
around. And so
Mhm.
having that
Mhm.
opportunity to release that, I think, would be so powerful. So with regards to like transformational therapy, and as well as hypnotherapy, are you able to just share? Because I know one of our posts previously, someone was actually curious as to what is
What
this
it
hypnotherapy.
is.
I would like to find out about both transformational therapy and hypnotherapy.
Yeah, so, well, they come hand in hand. The
Hmm.
goal really of hypnotherapy is just to silence the conscious mind that critiques all the time. So, for example, in a coaching space, the conscious mind is so engaged with the conversation that it
Hmm.
reasons out. And when it reasons out, you can have coaching for 1 year or 2 years just to get to the bottom of the problem. But
Hmm.
rapid transformational therapy silences the critical mind, allows the critical mind to rest. So, meaning we are now speaking to your truth, really, because it's your subconscious or your memory or whatever it is that's really holding you back, that's causing that problem,
Hmm.
will now speak, now have a voice. So,
Right.
hypnotherapy is just technically allowing you to relax. And
Okay.
rapid transformational therapy, the reason why we call it rapid, I think you've tried it before with
Hmm.
me,
Yeah.
is that it goes directly to the root cause of the issue. It
Hmm.
goes to the root cause of the issue. I'll give you an example. Say, perhaps I can give you your story to everyone,
Mm.
Yona, since I worked with
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
So, for
Sure.
example, for your session with me before, your presenting case was you're scared of sales.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Now,
no, not scared. Like, I
no,
didn't
I think
like it.
that's the wrong word. Uh, Undesirable to you,
Yeah, it's
or
undesirable to me. Yeah.
yeah, it's not really a domain that you're comfortable working in. But
Yeah.
but to you, it becomes a problem now because you have to, because you're running the business, right? So there's
Right.
this like feeling of conflict of
Yeah.
wanting to do sales but not wanting to do sales. But
Yeah.
your end goal is, I want to do sales.
Yeah.
So the goal of the session then is, okay, let's determine, when did you start believing that sales is not desirable?
Yeah.
So this is when we went to three scenes, when I regressed you into three
Hmm.
scenes, allowing to, and regression means going back to a specific memory in the past that
Yep.
triggered this specific belief of you not liking sales.
Yeah.
So by going back to those three scenes, you are now evaluating the scenes in the past from a
Yeah.
perspective that you have in now, with a clear understanding that, okay, so this happened when I was 5 years old. This belief
Hmm.
happened when I was 6 years old, but still it's dominating how I view sales. And it's ridiculous because I'm now an adult, but it's still hovering around my head or above my head that
Yeah.
I don't like sales because it was influenced.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason why we always go, it's not that we always go back, but most of the time we go back to when we're young, is because that's when our beliefs are formed.
Correct.
And this is very critical. So
Hmm.
we go to the world, with the belief that we formed when we were 1 to 10 years old, for example. So you can just imagine how many of those beliefs are outdated that needs
Yeah.
updating. So what
Yep.
we did was just update it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I must say that during that time as well, I think the word updating, I know that probably sounds so simple to people, but actually going back to that point in time where you realize, oh, this is where it started from. This is where
Mhm.
it stems from. And with the simple, action of updating, it's actually quite powerful, because one of the things you realize is that it's about admitting or saying that this is where it stems from, this is where it's coming from, this is the root of it. And then what is it that you want to do? Like, what
Mhm.
is it? What is your goal? And so how are you able to connect the two so that you
Mhm.
do feel that comfort, or it doesn't
Yeah.
feel as, like for me, it didn't feel so like it wasn't a comfortable feeling for me. And so
Mm.
when we did talk about those things, it just came to a point where it was like, oh, wow. And it was really a realization that, oh, okay, so this is what happened. And I suppose this is, I wanted to, I guess, it's not that I want to talk about me, but I think this is actually quite critical, because a lot of like what you mentioned, a lot of what we believe today, it has stemmed from when we were younger.
Hmm.
And so
Definitely.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's when we were 5, although a lot of those, there's like that, there are significant years in our early life where we have that development, but it could also be things that have happened in more modern times, like is
Yeah.
in maybe within the past 10 years or something, that has impacted how we are today. But I suppose it's about saying that, like, when we're open to changing towards how we want to be, and actually saying, oh, you know what, I actually would like to discover as to why I'm this way. That
Hmm.
is just one
Mhm.
step.
Right.
That's not
And
even
to
the
add,
first step.
right. And to add, Yona, thank you for mentioning that, it's not just about the formative years that we get
Mm,
to really form these behaviors and form these beliefs. It could be from 10 years ago. However your mind was impacted by that event, your
exactly.
mind will practically stick because the
Yeah.
goal of the mind really is to make you survive. So
Yeah.
if say for example your mind felt threatened because you never like sales because of
Mm,
that belief that was formed, then your mind will try to do everything it can do to
yeah.
pull you away from the domain of sales.
Yeah.
And this goes with people too that has eating problems or like the relationship with food.
Yeah.
People would go on yo-yo diet because of that, like would really go on fasting, etc. And you can see that people would yo-yo on their weight solely
Mm-hmm.
because they have changed the manner of eating, but the relationship with food was not changed.
All right.
Rapid transformational therapy goes to the bottom line, which is the relationship with food. When did you have this relationship with food? You'll be
Mm-hmm.
surprised that I had one client that he went back to. So the story was, they came from a very poor family before, like they really don't have anything. And that was like, what, 7 years old? Went back to
Mm-hmm.
those memories. And then
Yeah.
now she's practically an adult. She can buy food, but now she feels like she's still behaving and operating like someone who doesn't have food.
Yeah.
She felt that, but she does not understand the relationship between the present life and the life she had before. So
Yeah.
with regression, we went back to those memories, and she understood that okay, my mind was stuck when I was 6 or 7 years
Yeah.
old, and my
Yeah.
relationship with food never changed. And now that I
Mm-hmm.
have money, I can buy more sweets, more stuff to fill in my mouth, and then it's just
Mm-hmm.
adding up to the weight. So that's really very interesting. So for example, for weight issues, it's not just about going to the gym. It's not just about because a person is not disciplined. It really goes beyond that, and the
Yeah.
relationship per se in terms of where they picked that belief.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it may also be simply as laziness, or not prioritizing, right? But then there are others where there are deeply rooted issues.
Yeah,
And so
deeper
that's why,
issues.
yeah, and I think, that's why, and having these conversations, I think, is important because, sometimes we're in that culture of, oh, we don't talk about these types of things because, we shouldn't be showing that vulnerability,
Yeah, vulnerable.
right? Like we
Vulnerability.
shouldn't be showing that about ourselves because some people say that, oh, that's a weakness. Well, in
Mm,
actual fact, I truly believe that it's not. It's actually a strength.
mm,
Vulnerability is allowing your strength, that freedom to actually speak your truth and to
mhm.
unravel that. And so, I think having that conversation with you, particularly with my mindset with regards to sales previously, it was really, in that point in time where I was working in that telemarketing role, and
Mhm.
I loved just that journey that we, that was quite powerful. That one conversation that we had, it was just like, when your mind just goes, oh yeah, that's how
There's a
interesting.
beauty.
Yeah, it was like a light bulb moment of like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way.
Mhm.
And we always termed it, there's also a Jonas way of sales where it doesn't have to be cutthroat.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
And I think that's the reason why, because in my mind, I was like, I'm not that type of person. I'm
Mm.
not that type of cutthroat type of sell, put it down your throat kind of person. And that's where it was, that shift of discomfort. And you were like, no, but I think it was because of that point in time. And it's great because from there, I was able to create a new paradigm when it relating to sales. So that was really powerful. But I know one of the other topics that we actually wanted to speak about, just briefly, is something that I know impacts a lot of people, especially those who work from home, the virtual professionals, especially the ones who are forced to work from home because of the pandemic or whatever economic situation is in your country, but in the Philippines because of the current situation. So I'm talking about mum guilt, right, Paulie? We were talking about
Ooh
this.
la la. Mhm.
Yes. And mum guilt could be any form, right? It could be simply as just feeling that guilt in your chest or in your heart or in your mind, and you're thinking that, am I doing the wrong thing as a mum?
Mm,
Or
mhm,
you're trying to live up to your responsibilities as a professional, but then
mhm,
feeling like you're letting your children down. Like there's different types of
mm,
forms of it, but I suppose that in a nutshell, it's the mum not feeling like they're doing enough or they're not enough, or and I think it's one of those things that we wanted to talk about because it is impacting many women out there because of that guilt. And yeah, I wanted to just speak to her about that because it would be great to perhaps if we can give people some practical tips on how to alleviate that feeling, because I think it's so important because many women are doing a lot right now.
mm,
and
mhm,
and I think just creating that space for them to feel supported, to feel like
mm,
they're not alone, that there are
mm,
people out there who knows and
mm,
sees them and feels them. So
mm.
yeah, Polly, let's get this conversation going.
So someone just said true.
Yeah.
Hey, Ariana. Ariana
Yes.
said true. I think she can relate to this.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I think also, Yona, I'm glad that you mentioned also that, I'll acknowledge it. I'm in Switzerland, you were in Australia. Some of our watchers would probably be from the Philippines, and the climate of moms octopusing really,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
juggling things at the same
Everything.
time
Yeah.
might be different with my
Mm-hmm.
situation or with your situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably start with the story of my mom and how I
Mm-hmm.
saw my mom juggle through things really. So she
Mm-hmm.
normally wakes up at 4:30 in the morning to do the laundry.
Mm-hmm.
This is me when I was like 10 years old. I get to
Mm-hmm.
see my mom do the laundry at 4:30 in the morning and
Wow.
then prepares food at 5 in the morning, and then the day rolls, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
she works. And the day rolls when she comes back from work. At 7 in the evening, she prepares the meal. After preparing the meal, she will still do the laundry again at night. So technically, her day ends at 11 in the evening. And then she wakes up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
The guilt, I think, was not being able to present herself fully for us,
Mm-hmm.
because I have brothers too, practically of the same age. With
Mm.
work and house chores, how can you even be present for your
Yeah.
kids?
Yeah.
But my mom grew up in a different generation where she was also probably, she also had the same experience, as why she's just mimicking that experience. But we're
Mm-hmm.
now in a different generation, and our generation now is pretty much very into, let me know how else I can emotionally connect and be a better mom to my kids and be emotionally present. We have a lot of discussions about mental health, about, how kids need their moms for them to fully develop. I think
Yeah.
that's the reason why that moms too are now really stretching themselves
Yeah.
and making sure that they're there 100%
Yeah.
of the time. So
Yeah.
this is just me reflecting how my mom's life was before running the family
Mm-hmm.
and running the household, and how moms are now. I think moms now have a crazy demand to
Yeah.
be present and to do it well and right,
Yeah. And to do it all.
and to do it all at once, no? And to
Yeah.
be to be a
Exactly.
wife pa yun. So
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
lot.
It is. It is. And I think, when it comes to those types of things, it's like that's, that happened in our parents' time. And then during that time, there was also their parents' time. So our
Mm,
parents as grandparents. So it's all about
mm,
that, that
mm.
what is it? You're passing it down. So we
Correct, passing it
see
down.
we see that our parents and our grandparents, they worked so hard and they did everything, and or it may be that be the case,
Mm,
but I suppose for
mm,
me, I
mm,
saw my parents, my mum doing that, and her
mm,
mum was really
mm,
hardworking too. She was
mm,
the boss lady of the markets, and so you could see she was working throughout the time that she was raising my mum and her siblings, and then now my mum too was working full time,
mm,
and then for us now, I also I want to have that opportunity to create a better world for my children too, be it
mm,
through putting food on their table,
mm,
buying them, the tools or the equipment that they need in order for them to learn and grow, and as well as be able to create businesses that makes an impact.
mm,
And so you also feel that responsibility. Like
mm.
even me just saying it was kind of like, oh wow, there is a lot of responsibility that I'm carrying. And so you feel that. And I think it's one of those things that if at one point in time you're not able to do all of them all at the same time, or if you may not be feeling like you're doing it well, you
Mm,
start to feel
mm,
guilty. And
mm,
I know, like, especially now where a lot of people work from home, and well, I do. I work from home, and when I hear, the children crying or might be yelling out for me, but I'm in a meeting,
mm.
deep down inside, I do feel a little bit guilty.
Aw.
But I know that my parents are with them. So I'm like, at the same
Mm,
time, I'm like, it's okay. They're with Lola and Lolo.
mm,
But,
mm,
you feel that,
mm.
oh gosh, I wish I could go down and help them, but that's just the reality. And I think we need to have more compassion for ourselves.
I think
Right?
that the difficulty, is really, like, to me, I've interacted with some moms too. I have best friend who are moms as well, trying to understand the situation that they're in the pandemic, working
Mm,
full time, and the
yeah.
kids are within their reach.
Yeah,
The kids can see them. Like, mom,
exactly.
you cannot fake it. Like, you're there. So
Exactly.
you know that we can ask help from you anytime, or if we
Yeah.
hungry, we can really just tell you. This is also one thing that's difficult with work from home situation, because we're trying to make it as rigid as a corporate world. The
Mm,
corporate world definitely doesn't have kids. There's no kids running in the office. You can
Yeah.
have your own cubicle and be private and be silent and really concentrate and really deliver 100% of your time. But with work from home, and not everyone has offices at home.
Exactly.
Some would share the same space as their kids studying beside because of the
Yeah.
online classes. So pretty much you're transforming your entire home as school, as your home, and as your
Yeah.
office. And that's tough. So to me, I think I had this I loved how Martine presented herself before. Like whenever her daughter interrupts her and she's in a Zoom session, she will definitely be okay with it and say, yeah, my daughter is
Yeah.
here, say hello to
Exactly.
everyone. But you know, this is one thing people should understand working in the corporate environment, that you're not in the office, you're at home. So expect unpleasantness to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be too guilty. Expect unpleasantness to happen. The room might be untidy. The person might have not brushed her hair. You know, instead of like passing on that judgment through virtual space and say, "Ooh, let me just
Mm.
judge the space that you're in." Probably the first step would be, let's expect that it will be unruly. Let's expect that it
Mm.
will be chaotic. Cattywampus, my favorite word, might
Yes.
be messy. So
Yeah.
so to me, I think that would be a first step, because everybody sees through each other through the virtual space. So let's
Yeah.
just accept each other's virtual spaces. It may not be as perfect as how we perceive it to be or how we
Yeah.
expect it to be. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Exactly. That's so true. Um, and I think, I know sometimes, like, because I've done it previously as well. It's like, apologizing for noise or whatever. And, it does happen. And that's the thing. Like just now, I don't know if you heard it or if anybody heard it, but I actually stepped on a toy just then because there's toys underneath where I'm standing. And so it was making noise. And at first, naturally I'd be like, oh my gosh, sorry
Mm,
about that. But at the same time, that's just how it is. And so it's just accepting that this is the way it is. And I guess that's the other thing, just accepting that this is the way it is.
yeah.
Like it's just going, this is how it is right now, and it's okay.
Hmm.
And it sounds so simple, but I think we need to be reminded about that. You're telling yourself, like, we're so quick to tell other people, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. But when it
Mm,
comes to ourselves, we're so highly critical,
mm,
right?
mm.
And so I
No,
think,
also, Yona, the challenge I think is you have, working. I've been in the corporate. I mean, I was with the corporate world for like 12 years,
mm,
and I'm sure you too. You've experienced this yourself. There's
yeah,
always there's this corporate armoring that happens all the time in the
yeah,
office,
yeah,
like having to present themselves, have to have a good perception, um, and to be seen as well, really intact and collected as a person,
mhm,
for
yeah,
that management air to be felt, and for
yeah,
that corporate air to be perceived by a lot of people.
yeah,
The challenge is we're taking that armor with us at home.
mm,
And that armor is heavy, and that armor does not belong at home, because home
mm,
is where you leave your armor behind and just be
yeah, by
you.
the door, yeah,
But now there is a conflict because you're wearing the armor and you are
yeah,
a mom and you have a child beside you sitting asking for help, or asking for, I don't know, chocolate, or asking for milk. And
yeah,
this exchange of, this is who I am as a person working in the office talking to my boss, and then suddenly
yeah,
there's a switch every other minute, or every other 30 minutes, or a
mhm,
certain hour, switch to
mhm,
another role. That's just a lot of things happening at the same time, switching between roles, keeping my
yeah,
armor intact, leaving it again for my kids, and then putting it again, leaving it again,
yeah,
putting it again. That's just a lot of things going on. So,
yeah,
so do me understand that your home is your home. You don't need your corporate armor per se.
yeah,
So just feel like it's your home. It is
yeah.
what
And I
it
think
is.
it is what it is. And it's also about like, I also understand though that, there's that perception too, right? And we've spoken about this previously. There's also that perception
Mm,
management because, whilst you are at home as a virtual professional, you also want to
mm,
exude that professionalism when you work.
mm,
So,
mhm,
whilst you can't have that corporate armor on you, it's okay, but you can
mm,
still have that professionalism. So it may be like that you have to, you may need help during, for example, if there was a important meeting that
mm,
you needed to attend to, you may need to ask, another house member to help you during that time, or
mhm,
you may need to speak to your child, depending on their age. That
mm,
okay, mummy's just about to get onto a very important call.
mm,
Um, so
mm,
you just having that
mm,
communication with your child as
mm,
well. You know,
mm,
I know that we can't be corporate, but at the same time, we still want
mm.
to exert that professionalism.
Oh,
So there are ways
definitely.
around it.
Mm,
There are
mm,
ways, and I think it's just about communicating if you need
mm.
help.
I
And
like
then,
I like what you said about communicating, Yona, because this reminded me about one client who had really had difficulties managing work from home situation because now that they're working from home, bosses feel that they're available 24/7
mm,
to a point where they're practically booked meeting after meeting after meeting with their webcams on.
mm,
And to me, it's like, apart from the fact that that will be difficult and challenging to
mm-hmm.
think that I will be available 24/7 because I also have a life after work. It's also, I think it's also important to space meetings well.
Yeah,
If say there are meetings that does not really require a camera, then the I think don't ask them to put their camera on just because you want to see whether they're really working or not. Um,
yeah,
yeah, because technically the camera becomes the eye of Sauron now, where a boss can zoom in and say, "Are you working?"
yeah,
Because also the boss feels responsible whether the team may be able to meet their targets. I get that, but we were not trained for this. So that becomes
mm,
challenging if the whole 8 hours you have your camera on, because if you want to be perceived well, then you really have to control your environment, which is impossible if you have kids running
yeah,
around.
of course,
So
yeah,
I think spacing meetings, right, and setting expectations as to how many meetings require a camera would help, because at
mm,
least I know that for an hour I need my space clear,
yeah,
no kids here, probably somebody can take care of them, and then I'll probably put some little makeup and some color on my face just to
yeah,
look less dead than usual, and and have a good lighting, present myself,
yeah,
rather than have their cameras on all the time during meetings, which is practically impossible. So I think that to me might help
yeah,
moms out there working, that probably this can be communicated as what you said.
yeah,
Just communicate expectations for meetings and be
yeah, and
reasonable.
also, but at the same time, on
Mhm.
the same token, like I feel like it's also an opportunity for those meetings that you're able to speak to another adult. Because
Mhm.
I know for mums,
Yes. Yes.
if they're always with children, they feel like they're just speaking to kids all the time. And so having that adult interaction also helps boost your morale, boost your
Mhm.
esteem, just as an individual, as a woman, not just as a mum, but as a woman, because, a working woman too. And
Mhm.
so even just like what you mentioned, putting on a little bit of lipstick, it also helps,
Yeah.
it helps perk you up a little bit, helps you, it makes you feel good because sometimes, working from home, you're constantly wearing your pambahay or, you might just be wearing really, really casual clothes. And whereas previously you may have been used to wearing like, your corporate clothes. And I think
Mhm.
if you want to, go for it, wear it.
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of people feel that others are judging them. And I think one of the
Mm.
important things is that we're our actual biggest judge. We're
Oh,
judging
yes.
ourselves so much more. And I think we need to cut ourselves some slack. We need
Mm.
to be less critical of ourselves. And so, if you want to wear your lipstick, go for it. And or maybe if you don't want to, or you know what I mean? And it's just that, there are things that
Whatever feels good, at that moment.
exactly. And I think there's a chef in the Philippines, Chef Avi. He always says, "Kung san ka masaya," and I think that's
Yes.
exactly right. And I think it's so important. So really about creating boundaries too.
Mm.
Um, just saying that this is my meal time. This
Mm.
is where I'm going to eat, and I don't need to work through I'm not going to work through lunch. And I
Mm.
think, I always harp on about this at work. And I always say, guys, if you need to eat, you need to eat. Like you just have to eat. You can't not eat the whole day. I mean, for me, I get hangry if I don't eat. And so I'm trying to,
Hangry.
I get, so I try to, I try to see feel what the team would be feeling. And so I'd always be
Mhm.
like, you guys need to have a break. You guys need to make sure you have a meal because it's important. Because at the end of the day, right, Paulie, if we don't take care of ourselves, how are we going to take care of
Yeah,
other people?
I agree. I think thank you for bringing that in about lunches and about meals.
Mm.
Because before I usually eat in my desk
Yeah.
because I just feel that I don't have enough time to complete all tasks. So it's
Yeah.
either I squeeze in my lunch on my desk
Mm.
because you'll be surprised because I feel very accomplished when I'm eating and still working.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
feeling of I feel I accomplished something. And I thought that was healthy,
Mm.
Yona. And I thought that's how the world operates.
Mm.
Not until I arrive here in Switzerland and people are enjoying their meals, no computers, no
Mm-hmm.
phones, nothing
Yeah.
on the table but their food. And they're
Mm-hmm.
enjoying their meal really.
Yeah.
And I was like, was I living in another dimension when I felt like work should be partnered with a meal? But no, here is
Mm.
like people really do respect meals. And
Mm.
and I think it's a collective feeling that they do, collective thing that they do. That no one
Mm-hmm.
felt guilty. Not people should eat lunch at 12 and not
Yeah.
working while
Yeah.
eating. Well, in the
Mm.
Philippines, people are I don't know, like before when I was working, I always felt productive, which is
Yeah.
wrong. To feel
Yeah.
productive while eating, there should be a time for meal and time for work.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many health implications as well. Like I know there's a
Mm.
lot of people that we've had, there's a couple of people that we've spoken to, previous guests of EVS show, and they did say it's about that mindfulness as well, is that if you're not mindful during meal times, you may end up eating more than you should or
Mm.
more than you need. Or you may end up, because you're not so mindful during meal times, you end up picking up foods that may not necessarily be good for you.
Yes.
And so giving yourself the opportunity to just step back, like if you feel that you are very, very busy, just at least give yourself 15 minutes to step
Yes.
away and have fresh air and breathe, and just to, even if you just step outside your front door, or if you're living in a condo, maybe your balcony or something, or somewhere where you
Mm.
can just step out and not be in front of a
Mm.
computer,
Mm.
whatever it may be, but just to have that time to just think. And yeah, and I know for moms, it's very hard to do that because usually when mom is
Oh.
not at the desk, that's the time we'll be like, mommy, 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 or mom, mom, mom. So even if like you're in your little office area, even if you just stood up, you just stand
Mm.
up and, close your eyes just for like 60 seconds, it does a lot. It may
Mm.
not feel like a lot to begin with, but as you add it up, I think it becomes that powerful, that little power boosting moment where it
Mm.
perks you up a little bit, right? I mean, I feel like we could go on and on about this, and this is one of those things that we're both quite passionate about, being
Which
both
I
working
think we will be talking more about soon too.
we will be. Yeah.
Definitely, because I think this is something that it's not just happening in the Philippines per se. It's happening
Yeah,
everywhere.
it
We're
is.
all in this. I don't want to say this, but I will say it in this context. We're all in the same boat in terms of mom juggling
Oh,
things,
100%.
work
100%.
and work and kids and work and family. So
Yeah.
yeah, you'll
It's
definitely hear more about
yes.
this
So
topic soon.
watch out, everybody. We will be, Paulie and I will be collaborating on a few exciting things in the near future. But definitely, this is something that, we really wanted today's episode to be just like an open conversation.
Hmm.
To really discuss something that is relevant to all of us, and whether you're a mum or not. I know that there are people who are also not stepping away to having a break, or it may be that you're not a mum, but you've got another responsibility that you feel that you have to just grind and grind no matter what. And I think it's about allowing ourselves, or just having that compassion towards ourselves, to just breathe a little bit. Because if at the end of the day, like I always say this, if we don't look, I'm holding a toy as I'm speaking,
Getting
but
ready.
because it's actually like on where I am. But it's one of those things that if we don't take care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, how are we going to be of service to other people,
I love that.
particularly our families? So it's
Mm,
really something that we need to prioritize, and our well-being is definitely something that we really need to prioritize. But yeah, thank you so much, Paulie, for this conversation, and I think we will have
thank
many
you, Yona.
more. Did you have anything that you wanted to promote, or did you have any like how can people reach you if they want to do some rapid transformational therapy, or some hypnotherapy, or deep conversation?
So you can reach me via Facebook at the Sacred Space Vo. I'll probably type it in the comments box later on,
Mm-hmm.
or just Paulie Durig.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal Facebook page, a
Mm-hmm.
personal Facebook account.
Yeah.
So you can always reach me via IG or via Facebook anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just getting a lot of clients now talking about anxiety. So if you
Mm-hmm.
feel anxious, if you feel sad, depressed, please don't feel that you have to just deal it with yourself or deal it with your
Yeah.
on your own. You
Mhm.
always have someone that you can partner it with, and it's healthier that way for a lot of people. So if that
Yeah.
feels like it resonates with you, then you know where to go and you know who to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, people, you're not alone. There are people out there. And if there's anything, if there are people who are watching who need assistance, who need the support, feel free to reach out if you have questions, because it may not be EVS directly, but we do have a strong network of individuals who most likely can provide that support for you,
Definitely
like
true.
Paulie. So again, thank you, Paulie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yona.
Um, Really, I'm so thankful and grateful that we're able to have this conversation. And,
Me
it's
too.
one of those things that I feel like we have to just keep on continuing having these
Mm,
conversations. And I'm really so happy that you are our empowered Filipino guest today. And yes, thank you. And I will see you again soon. Thank you,
thank you.
Paulie.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Such a powerful conversation. And I really hope that you're all inspired and empowered by our wonderful guest, Paulie Durig. Paulie has demonstrated that we really need to take good care of our mental and emotional health. And our story and her story and her passions as a coach really inspires us to keep moving forward despite the difficult times that we may have experienced in recent times, or perhaps in times where, we were much younger. And her knowledge and talent, paired with life experiences and dedication and passion, can really spark change, and to really just have those conversations within ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, and change not only how we think, but it's also how we act, which in itself is the power that we hold to make this world a better place. We have a choice whether we want to be better, so we need to choose to say, and to act, and to be better. So thank you everyone for joining us today on our episode of Empowered Filipino. But before we go, let me just congratulate our one-on-one transformative coaching scholarship winners. We thank you everybody who joined us, joined the contest. And I was supposed to announce this last week, but I didn't get to. So I wanted to take this opportunity to again thank Creo Philippines, Mikey Dostos for collaborating with EVS for this opportunity of 3 one-on-one transformational coaching sessions with you. And so we want to congratulate Samuel, Sheena, and Christine Joy. Congratulations, and I really hope that you have wonderful sessions with Mikey. He is indeed an inspiration, and hopefully, you know, our empowered people learn tons of skills in building their career, virtual career. And so, yes, watch out, everybody, for other programs and, you know, giveaways or contests that we might have in the near future. So that's it for today. Thank you again for watching. Maraming salamat to all of our Facebook viewers, as well as those who have joined us on Kumu. See you all again next time for our another episode of Empowered Virtual Services Shows. Thank you, everybody. Bye.